Okay, I gotta say, I am stoked to be done with this build. Big bore felling saw. Now, people constantly say that it's not worth going for the big bores. I disagree. I think that if you can get 7.5% more displacement or more surface area on your piston, however you want to look at it, if you can, then you of course should. At any rate, the problems with these things, they really revolve mostly around the fact that the pistons come with these short skirts. They're cut about 73 thousandths shorter than a regular 54 millimeter piston. So your intake's off, you're close to free porting, and all kinds of stuff like that. I have another video that goes over how to handle and surmount these problems. At any rate, now that this one's finally done, I just want to go over some of its specs before I actually assemble it and start break-in and heat cycling and put it to use. So I hit almost everything that I wanted. I was off by a degree on my exhaust. I wanted 100 and I got 99. My intake's 81. My transfers are 110, giving me blowdown of 26 degrees. I like having a lot of blowdown on something that has. I feel like if you have exaggerated port timing on your intake and your exhaust, it's safer to have more blowdown, just to prevent short circuiting of the cylinder, losing good charge out of your exhaust. Squish was able to come in, thankfully, at a respectable 24, maybe 24 and a half. That was after polishing the first big bore cylinder that I got has a pretty identical treatment of the squish band and the base. You can't really do much as far as machining it because you'll be free porting like crazy. That said, with most of the cylinders, you can actually take about 3 or 4 thousandths off the band just to polish it up, and then you can take up to 10 thousandths off the base. And you're still, I mean, I have over 50 thousandths before I free port on this, and that's with 24 thousandths squish and an exhaust height of 99, and almost 50 thousandths before free porting. Now, some other things, I advanced the ignition timing on it about 3 1/4 to 3.5 degrees. The air intake system is obviously opened up. The air cooling system from the fins on the flywheel, it's directed by that plate, the exhaust gasket plate / heat shield, which keeps the air nice and tight around the cylinder, as well as separating it from the muffler. The plastic top is actually cut to accommodate that. Now the gray here is Moto Seal. I use that as a paint on heat shield in certain circumstances, like right here under a muffler, to keep the crank area and the oil reservoir a little bit cooler. The big bore cylinders themselves have thicker metal on the roof of the combustion chamber, so your slots for, say, your spark plug, your decomp plug, they're deeper. So you either have, like for instance on the left I have a custom plug that was cut, and on the right is a regular plug. You can just use an angle grinder and cut the washers off. Just use Moto Seal when you're putting it in. Same for the spark plug, have to use Moto Seal because you got to take off that washer, and that's a crush washer, so it's a one-time use washer. That's the Hyway pop-up piston that I was going to put in here, and thank God I double checked it, and the locator pin on the PTO side is bad. It's off over 3 millimeters. My transfers would have eaten a ring up. I realized it. Seller would not let me exchange. I had already ported it, so I can understand, maybe he thought I just liked my porting or something, when in reality I want my piston, and I'm pissed that I put that work into it, but I should have checked it more thoroughly. Anyways, the neat part is that the ring that has to come off of or the ring that you can't use on it, is on it's the top, the PTO side ring is your top ring. On the first cylinder I got, the one right here, it has a an unplated top, or ring of death as it's called. So you actually cannot run a top ring anyways. You can only run your bottom ring on this one. You can only do single ring builds. And I actually had this on the saw before, and it was spitting. It turns out that I had gone a little bit further on the exhaust port than I had thought, and the standard Farmer Tech slugs are not wide enough to seal it. The Hyway one is. So I'll be taking that piston and putting it with that cylinder into this saw. You know, to be determined at some date. Certainly not trying to open up a 660 in the near future, I can tell you that. So gonna have some fun breaking this guy in, and I'll try to get back with some action videos of it actually cutting. Oh, I wanted to show the pistons. I don't want to say you have to port the piston, but you have to port the piston. If you look at the piston on the left, look at the windows. Because they're shortening the skirt, they have to shorten the windows to match, obviously. The windows become smaller than windows on a 54 millimeter. So, you know, you just you don't have to go as elaborate as that. That's actually arguably too much. Although I've run pistons with thinner legs than that for extended periods without issue. So, at any rate, I will be back once this guy is cutting wood.